everybody. It's Tammy, and welcome to the Power Up. We're so glad you're joining us today as we get equipped, empowered, elevated, and educated together so that we can be the difference makers, those change agents in our community, in the world, even if it means our little world. Let's get started with Inside the News. Today, we want to elevate a reminder that the American Red Cross stands ready to help those in the United States who are experiencing disaster, difficulty, who need any type of relief and support. We often forget the role that this entity plays to be a difference maker worldwide, but definitely within our borders. Did you know that the American Red Cross impacts communities by providing disaster relief, supplying substantial portion of the national blood supply? Did you know that that's one of the reasons why we need you to extend your arm and donate your blood platelets? 7 lives can be changed, saved just from you donating one time. Also, the American Red Cross focuses on helping to save lives. So they're a pioneer in teaching life saving skills like CPR and first aid. They also support military members and their families and offer preparedness education to build safer communities across the country. How amazing is this organization that your tax dollars and donations can go to support? Essentially, the American Red Cross aims to alleviate human suffering, especially during emergencies, through their various services and training programs. Consider how you can grow and how you can help them accomplish some of the great work that they do on a daily basis. Listen, you ever, sadly, those who experience fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, the Red Cross is one of the initial agencies on the scene helping that family. They're one of the very first to show up to see what they need to provide support. So tell me, what can I do to make a difference? Let me tell you, I'm glad you asked. Quite a few things. First, call 1 800 Red Cross. See what you can do to become a volunteer as they reach out around the globe and around our nation to make sure that they are the hands and feet in the moment of crisis. Wouldn't you like to be that superwoman or superman your neighbors need in that moment of disaster, difficulty? The moment of anxiety when everything is so bad that they don't know which way to go, and to have you be the one to put the blanket around them when it's cold. Wouldn't you like to be trained by the American Red Cross in how to respond and when emergency happens while you're in the mall, at the grocery store, at the airport? Do you know what to do? You can be CPR first aid certified. I am. Doesn't take long, just helps you be in a position where you can be a good Samaritan. Because here's the thing, if you go down, wouldn't you want somebody to be able to help get your heart pumping until emergency folks can get there? If it was your mom, your auntie, your dad, your child. So, how about you be a winner too? Go to redcross.org. But as we said, there's also the ability to donate your blood. It takes just a few minutes for you to stretch your arm, allow them to take your blood type and mark it so that they can send it across the country. Do you know that there are people who are in car accidents and they immediately need blood transfusions? They don't ask the person's background, they don't ask who donated. They're just grateful someone was selfless to share what's already going to be regenerated in your body. You won't walk around without it. As soon as you donate, your body replenishes more. Think about when you've ever fallen in life and you've had that blood or that cut and you finally stopped it. You didn't kill over because of a cut, right? It was able to get to a place where you could still replenish through new skin, new blood platelets in your body, and you kept right on moving. Babies, kids do it all the time, scrape their knees and they keep going. But you can literally be a lifesaver. Come on, somebody. We always try to figure out, well, I can't do that when you're looking at other people, or, well, that's not for me. There are things for my introverts and my extroverts. You can also donate that good old cash, that tax write off. You want to call either 800 Red Cross or go to their website and get a lot of the information that they have, www.redcross.org. Again, whether disaster relief, blood donation, community training, how about supporting our military, or the fact that they are also a pioneer in humanitarian efforts worldwide. Our American Red Cross contributes to global efforts by collaborating with Red Cross societies to respond to international crises. So that makes your blood go further, your money go further, your volunteerism stretch and touch folks across the water too. Family, the power up is all meant to educate and equip you so you can figure out what you want to do to make a difference and share the information so that folks around you are then educated and equipped so they can be difference makers too. And I want to charge everyone with going ahead and learning how to take that first aid and CPR class. Why not? Be ready to help somebody, your brother, your sister, someone around you that drops. You will have the knowledge on what to do just to help them stay alive till first responders gets here. Family, come on and be that change agent and difference maker. We hope this information was helpful. We appreciate all that the Red Cross folks are doing. If you're watching, our hearts are with you. And to all those who volunteer and are selfless, being givers in this world, we honor you on the Power Up Show. Family, there's so much more to our show. Stay tuned. We have an incredible returning guest who's going to answer one of our viewer questions. There's more right after this.
Hello, y'all. I am Chiquita Rhodes, aka Chi. I am an actress, singer, dancer, entertainer, motivational speaker, and hostess. Listen, I have an encouraging word for you. No matter how small the job is, no matter how small the opportunity is, no matter how small you think the door is, take the job, take the opportunity that leads you to your destiny. There is no job too small. There is no opportunity too small that is going to lead you towards your passion, your destiny, your dreams, okay? Y'all, please hear me. Breakthrough happens over time. It's a series of small things that happen over time that leads to breakthrough. So I encourage you today, take that leap of faith. Take that small step of faith that's going to lead you to greater doors and greater opportunity. You can find me on Instagram at charming.chichi, Chichi. I am on Facebook as Chiquita Rose, and you can also find me on Instagram under BB&J Lifestyle, Beauty, Brains, and Jesus. Okay, y'all? Until the next time, the next place, and the next topic. Stay dope, y'all. Peace.
Power Up family, I'm your host Tami. So glad that you're hanging on and joining us today so that we can all be equipped, educated, empowered, and elevated together. We're going to touch a topic in response to a viewer question and bring one of our absolute experts back to discuss this topic. But I want to share this. Do you know that according to recent statistics, social media significantly impacts businesses by helping them reach a larger audience, build brand awareness, generate leads, drive up sales, and improve customer service? And all of this has been proven through statistics. 77% of improvements, all because they tapped into that social media network. So we're glad to bring back one of my favorite guests. We want to welcome to the Power Up Miss Patrice Upchurch. Not only does she bring her beauty and brains, but she also brings an excellence and understanding of the social media and business collision. Hi, Patrice. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Happy to be back and happy to talk about one of the most important topics of this time right now, whether it's your personal brand or your business. Social media is vital to both. So I'm super excited to be here to talk about it.
Man, and this is from, listen, not just someone who's like living it, saturated in it, doing it, but you're doing it well with excellence, sister. Out here helping like companies, major companies, understand how to go to the next level. And I want to honor the fact that you also help those one-on-one entrepreneurs that are
Yeah.
lost, just trying to figure out, I have my lotions business and I just want to get it out there. How can I get more people to see it? So thank you for the heart and the work that you do, especially being so young. Congratulations again on being a newlywed
Thank
and
you.
on your college graduation, man. That is so wonderful. Okay, let's jump right into it. You are truly one of those change agents and difference makers. So I'm kind of going to throw a spin at you really quickly.
Okay, sounds good.
We we received a viewer inquiry.
Okay.
Um, I know that your expertise is podcasts, social media, and then business dynamics, exposure, those type of things. But we did receive a question, and I want to just give it to you for consideration. One of our viewers asked, and I'm going to Tammy rise it. I don't know how to start. It's confusing. What should I do first? So that's like the summation of her wonderful long email. But I know it's echoed by others who might be viewing. Tell us, where do we start? How do we unconfuse it, make it clearer, and then make it so we can be better?
Right. So with social media in itself is very similar to being an entrepreneur. The way that you would start a business is the same way that you would start a social media page. So the first thing that you want to have is you want to have a plan. So let's say that you're an entrepreneur. I'm going to use the example that you gave about a lotion business. So you have your lotion business, you have your website, and you have your business plan, and you want to start marketing that on social media. So let's start with what pages you should be on. So I highly recommend Instagram. It's probably my second favorite social media platform behind TikTok, but it is very vital to have an Instagram as a business owner. So you would start by making your Instagram page and having your Instagram name be the same name as your business. So if people come from your website to your social media or your social media to your website, everything is consistent. And fun fact, actually this week, Google launched where if your business is listed on Google, where your website and your phone number would be on Google, as well as your address, your social media posts will show up there as well. So if someone Googles you, they'll see your phone number, your address, as well as your social media page. So if your business isn't listed on Google, that may be something that you want to do, and that will help increase your social media growth as well, because people will be led from Google to your social media. And it's a good thing that we're coming up on the end of the year and people like to start fresh in a new year. So as you create your social media page, you have your name, you have your bio, which is basically a short description of your page. So it would be like your mission statement or a slogan about your business. You would put that in your Instagram bio. And the reason why I mentioned coming up on the end of the year, because it is a good time to come up with a social media content calendar. So if you have time over this holiday season, start creating a content calendar for the month of January. So going through each week in January and planning out 2 to 3 posts each week related to your business. How I like to structure starting an Instagram page from scratch for a business is your first post being an introduction to you and your business. So, what your business is, your heart behind starting that business, and a little bit about yourself so that people have an introduction to your business, but also you as a person. Because behind every business, social media platform, or brand is a real person, and you have a real reason why you're starting a business. So, I like to start off with the first post being that. The second post being an introduction to your products or services. So listing out what comes in each service or each product and also the price point. And then going from there, more behind the scenes content of your business. So if you want to do a day in the life of your day as an entrepreneur, as well as more details about your team. If you have a business that has multiple people on your team and it's not just you, and going through things like that.
Oh, keep talking. That's
And
amazing. That is amazing. Wow. I mean, and thank you because you did just what I needed you to do. You kind of touched on some of the high level things that those who are unfamiliar might experience and those who just need to grow. So, can I delve a little bit deeper into a few things? So,
yeah, sure.
first, when you mention the branding part of it, what's are there legal implications that people should know about making sure that we're branded, or can we just jump on social media and start hashtagging like crazy?
I would definitely recommend making sure that your business is either an LLC or corporation, and those are things that you can do research on, because you don't want to run into, you have a great business name and idea, you post it on social media, you have your name, and then you find out someone else has the same business name. We don't want to run into those things. So making sure that your business is a legal entity is very important, because you don't want to have to start from scratch, or get in conflict with someone on social media about having the same name. So definitely make sure your business is registered for sure.
That makes sense. So you got to be a viable tax business. That makes sense. You want to be in good standing with your state. Family, make sure your business is in good standing with your state. So thank you for reminding us of that.
Yes.
I guess I think a lot of folks might think like, let's go with a t-shirt company that when you decide there's an idea, an image that you want, that becomes your brand. So your recommendation is definitely get that like trademarked, get it done where it's officially yours, and then put it out there on every social media platform, on anything that we touch.
Yeah, I recommend Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok in terms of the social media platforms that are good for business. And each one has its own strengths. So for Instagram, it's really good for tutorials. So if you're someone who maybe has a hair care line or a makeup brand, going on Instagram and posting a video of how to use it or ideas for this product or service or whatever, Instagram is really good for tutorials and content like that. TikTok is really good for behind the scenes and entertainment content, because you want to draw people in. No one just wants to hear a list of your products and services. Those things are very important and should be found on your social media. I personally look at social media as a pocket version of your website. So I do want to go on someone's page and see their products and services and the prices and their policies, but that's not the only thing that I want to see. I want to see, and many other people want to see, the personality and the person behind the brand. I think that as time goes on, people want to see more of the human side of content and not just being marketed to at all times.
That's a great point. Wonder one of the things that we find a lot of times is the cost aspect of being able to not just get your business started, but to be able to get it exposed. What advice do you have for folks who are trying to make both, navigate both?
Yeah, there is a lot of ways to do things in a more cost effective way. I saw someone's comment come through saying, is it expensive to get a trademark or an LLC? And there's a lot of platforms that do the work for you. So I'm blanking on the names a few, but there's a bunch of LLC platforms online, and you can pay $100 to $200 to get your business registered. And same thing with trademarks as well. And I also know if you want to cut out the middleman of doing it, you can go directly to your state and local department and do it for at most $50. So it really depends on what you want to do. And with after that, most things that you need for a business nowadays is really just a computer and a phone. As long as you have your computer and a phone and a social media, you're good to go. And there's free ways to build websites. Wix is one, Square is one, and there's free templates as well as WordPress. So as long as you do your research, there's a lot of ways to reduce the costs. It's virtually impossible nowadays to just start a business for completely free. There may be some costs associated with it, but if you delve into your research and what industry you want to start your business in, I can guarantee there's a way to bring the cost down. But I don't think that it would be realistic of me to say that you can start a business for free. We all have experienced the high prices of the past 2 years and post the pandemic. So you can't start it for free, but there's definitely cost effective ways to do it.
Yeah, and thank you for elevating some of those ideas, those brands that you don't necessarily have to pay $1,000 to somebody to build a website. Time, patience, there are website platforms. You can
Yes.
create, copy someone else's will instead of having it created. As is the same thing about getting your LLC. And thank you for also reminding folks to go to the state, get your EIN through IRS, get your, LLC right through your state, and then you can build from there. But there's another part to exposure that I think a lot of folks get stuck, especially when you have the old school versus new school dialogue. And that's the ability to really understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the things that has been so instrumental that I've heard a lot about, for example, is Chat GBT. GPT. There we go. Tell us, if you will, to help folks who aren't as savvy understand that there are tools out there to help us with time management. How would you use it, and how would you recommend a business use
Yeah, for sure. So, explaining a little bit about what Chat GPT is, and I get stuck in that too, just saying Chat GPT.
it?
But what that platform is, it is a generative AI platform. And what that means is it's using artificial intelligence to generate new content from already existing information. So, it pulls information from the internet, and you put in a prompt and it generates for you the information based on whatever your prompt is. So, specifically for social media, what I use it a lot for is to write captions. So, for a lot of these platforms, you can insert a picture into whether it's Chat GPT or Copilot, as well as Google Gemini. The three of those are all artificial intelligence free platforms that you can use by three different companies. So, what I do is I'll put the graphic or picture that I'm going to post on social media into one of those platforms and say, write me a caption for Instagram or Facebook. And I may include some more details depending on how detailed the graphic or the picture is, because the technology allows this platform to read whatever picture is on given to it. So I may not have to put in any additional information, but if I wanted to, I can say, write a caption for Instagram or Facebook for this particular business and organization, and please include hashtags, and it'll produce a caption for you. And sometimes you may have to give it a little bit more information. The trick that I like to use for all of these generative AI platforms is type as if you're speaking to a real person. So we all have worked under someone, or we assign tasks to another individual. So let's say you're talking to a member of your team, you can talk to Copilot or Chat GPT in that same way, saying, I have this task for you to do, please do it this way. So that's how I use it. You can also use it for content planning. I mentioned earlier in the conversation a little bit about starting a content plan or content calendar for the month of January. So if you want to, I recommend posting on your social media platform 2 to 3 days a week. So let's say there's 4 weeks in January, you want 12 days worth of content if you're going with 3 days a week. So you can put into one of these generative AI platforms, write me 12 content ideas for the month of January for my lotion business, and it'll produce the content ideas. Then you can say, can you write me a caption for each of those ideas? Can you provide me with hashtags for Instagram to use for those? And it'll produce all of that information. You can do it all at once, or you can break it up in between different messages. It looks like a text message. That's how the platform looks. So you can continue to put in prompts, as many as you want to. Some platforms have limits. I believe Copilot, you can do 30 a day. So that may be something that you want to keep in mind when you're writing out those prompts. If you want to try to squeeze as much detail as possible into one prompt, if you know that you're going to use it for other things in the day. So that's pretty much how that goes in terms of AI for social media. There's plenty of prompts online. If you don't want to create one yourself, of course, you can just Google and say Copilot prompts for social media captions or social media graphics. And there's plenty of people out there who have, produced prompts for other people to use. And if anyone is familiar with Copilot each day, it gives 6 prompts for you to use. They're not pertaining to what you may be looking for, but it may be just general prompts that you want to use. What I've used it for sometimes is, yesterday actually, I put in, can you give me the top 5 real estate articles for today? And it gave me the top 5 real estate articles for yesterday, that from different platforms such as CNN, CNBC, and things like that. So there is a wonder to what AI can do. There is no conversation where someone can lay out all that you can do, but these are just some of the options.
So I need you to say all that again. And give me the top 3 again. Chat GPT,
Yes.
GPT.
Yeah. Yes. Copilot, which is Microsoft, and Gemini, which is Google.
Awesome. Thank you. Artificial intelligence for a lot of folks is taboo, but interestingly enough, we've been dealing with it and not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
All the time, spell check has reset a text that I wasn't trying to say
Exactly.
that. And it
Yeah.
corrected me. And that's artificial intelligence. It was going by the rhythm of what I usually say and just immediately put a word in there for me. So
Exactly.
what other ways, since we're talking about AI, can I just ask, do you use it? I've heard it works well with scheduling. I've heard it works well with like quick flyers and things like that. Or and not just artificial intelligence, but social media helping to push your brand in general. What other quick tips could folks do?
Yeah, I would say what I use it for almost every day is writing emails. I want to use it to make sure my emails are consistent. They're delivering the information in concise ways. So I'll like draft up what I want to say, and it might not be in perfect form, but I'll enter it into Copilot and say, can you rewrite this email to make sure that it includes the important information or make it concise as possible. And the one thing that I appreciate about AI is that it's, like you said, it's integrated into a lot of platforms that we don't even think about. So in terms of creating graphics, I use Canva for my graphic design specifically. And in the Canva Pro subscription, they have a Magic AI system. That's what they call it. They call it Magic. So they have a magic write function. So if you put something on a flyer and you want them to rewrite it and make it sound more friendly or make it sound more professional, it'll take your information and rewrite it, similar to what I just mentioned about the email. And Canva does also have the AI function to where if you insert a prompt, if you say create a graphic for me that includes this information, and I want to include blue and green in the color scheme because that might be whatever your business color scheme is, it'll create a graphic for you within Canva. The one important thing to remember about AI is that it doesn't replace our human knowledge. So you may have to adjust some things. It may not be perfect. It's not going to replace the human critical thinking and the updating, but it may give you a head start. And that's what I use those Canva AI functions for. The graphics don't come out perfect because it's still a new system, but it may give me a starting point, and I may add other design elements, excuse me, to make it, how I would want it to be. There's also a lot of functions where it can, and this gets super technical into graphic design, but it can create different shapes. If you want, I don't know, like if you want a heart or something, it'll just create a heart for you. There's a lot to AI in these different platforms, but that's just one.
Wow.
And on the topic of whether it's writing an email, or we talked a little bit about, starting a business, there is a way for AI to write a business plan for you, whether it's using Copilot, Gemini, ChatGPT, as well as, I don't know if people are super familiar with it, but Grammarly is, a source that helps you with like writing and crafting emails. They even have an AI function. So I use that often as well. There's so much that can be done with AI. It's honestly incredible.
Wow. Okay, so we should just let it go. We should just let it go. Listen to New School. This is how it's going to be from now on. Get on board and find ways to help us. Okay, I love it. I'm going to tap into the other side of you. You're not just a business advisor, you are yourself a podcaster.
Yes.
And how has that helped your brand?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely helped with public speaking and thinking on the go, because a lot of podcasting is live recordings. So you may, sometimes you have the luxury to edit some things out, but you really have to think quickly, because you're providing information to other people. So that has helped me in that area, but also in terms of research. There's a lot of research that goes into podcasting. So I found myself having a wide variety of knowledge that I didn't have before. I've only been a podcaster for almost 6 months. And prior to that, I hadn't known anything about podcasting and the different technicalities that go into it. And it's also increased my knowledge about technology. There's a lot of different platforms and systems and mechanics out there for video, for microphones. So I'm now a little bit more knowledgeable about that than I was before.
Wow. And you're enjoying the ride just 6 months in?
Yeah, it's been great. I'm learning a lot, and yeah, that's all I can that's all I can really say. It's been great.
That's okay. What's the best part about podcasting?
I would say the impact. I've had a few people say like I listened to your podcast during a rough time, and for some of it, it may have took their mind off of the situation that they were struggling with, because our podcast is basically processing culture and society through a lens of faith. So it's not just going through scripture. We're applying scripture to what people are experiencing in their everyday lives, whether it's the music that they're listening to, the movies that they're watching, their interactions with their family and friends, or romantic relationships. So some of those topics, or even video games, they've taken their mind about off the struggles of life, but also they have a way to use the information that we're giving them in a practical way to impact their relationships and how they look at life.
And your podcast is processing with the up
Yes.
churches. You and your husband do it together.
Yes.
And you said it's looking culture and society, looking at it through the lens of faith.
Yes.
That's awesome, man. And to hear young folks that are powerful in their faith, like you both are, is just so admirable and honorable. And to keep going, you don't just stop there. You lead a ministry for a mega church on their social media platform. So you now have taken your gifts and what you advise in business and not only help other people build themselves and their livelihoods, but you're helping another community impact on social media. How has that helped?
It's been great. One thing that is important to me in terms of social media, it's great for communicating with friends and family. It's great for entertainment, but the main reason why I see social media as important is because of the information. So with the church side of things, managing social media for a church is helping people get information and get connected to an organization, a source where they can find hope, and they can find that it's not just the struggles that they're experiencing in their everyday lives, that there's something greater than us all, and all of the struggles and everything that we interact with on a daily basis has a higher meaning. It's bigger than us, it's bigger than the situation. So being able to use something small as social media to reach people in that way, and not just reach people in the area of the church, but reach people in other states, in other cities, in other countries, and really bring unity through social media has been a great thing.
Yeah, I actually heard a message from the pastor where he was sharing there was a member who was in Guam, and because
Mhm.
of the information they were receiving, they were able to get connected to stuff they just didn't know out was out there. A lot of times we see services because the
Yeah,
pandemic helped to make sure that whatever faiths are, the churches are out there and able to share
yeah.
messages throughout the pandemic. But it's more than just watching a service. It's like you say, sharing the information so people can be connected.
Exactly. And one great thing about social media is there's functions on across all platforms where you can go live. So a lot of the church events, they're live on Facebook, they're live on Instagram, live on Twitter, live on YouTube. So it's not just Sunday morning. People can interact with the church. They can interact with the church during the week for Bible study, or just discussions about different aspects of life, whether it's marriage or grief. People can interact with the church and interact with other believers in that way through social media, because social media has allowed them to not just listen to services, but really experience events and fellowship with other believers.
Yeah, that's it's a virtual sanctuary. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Patrice, you are phenomenal. I mean,
Thank
honestly, the fact that you touched on so much, and we honestly, let me just ask this question: what do you do for a living?
I'm a financial analyst for a real estate company, specifically in internal audit.
Okay, so nothing we just talked about is
Nothing
what
at
you
all.
do to eat every day. Isn't that phenomenal? I gotta touch on that. I knew that, by the way, in advance, family, but I have to emphasize that because sometimes we think that we're stuck in our job as our definition. And yet you're doing so much more to use your gifts and talents. So I would, if you would, for me, I'm going to come off screen for a minute and let you talk to the people. You are one who loves to motivate, share hope, and inspire, especially young folks your age. If you could speak a word to someone in about 2 minutes to give them hope, please feel free. What would you share?
Yeah. One thing that has been very present in my mind this week is we can only control the controllable. A lot of things that happen are out of our control, whether it's things about the future that's not in our control because it's not here, and our daily interactions. You can't control your family members, you can't control your coworker, you can't control whether or not you hear back on that job application. Whatever it is, you can't control it, but you can control your response. So whether it's your coworker, you can control how you respond to that person, whether it's, just being kind to them when they're not being kind, showing grace, showing mercy to them, whether it's continuing to prep for that job interview. You may not hear anything today, but you will, and you want to be prepared for it. So that's my message: control what you can control, don't worry about what you can't, and just stay focused on what you can do. Stay prepared, stay focused, control your responses, control your emotions, and control your thoughts. Don't think too much on the negatives. Focus on the positive. Focus on the bright side of each day, because there is.
Wow. Patrice Upchurch family. I'm just so proud over here. One of the kind, amazing social media advisor. You can find her on most social media platforms. I'm sorry. Yeah, on all social media platforms. You can also email her directly, pperspective4.6 at gmail.com. She is the CEO of her company, Patrice Perspectives, where she advises executives, leaders, and entrepreneurs on many levels. Listen, you give her, reach out to her if you're trying to figure out where to start. Help this young lady build her business as she pours into communities around the world. Um, One of the things I appreciate is that you don't blow people's pockets out when wanting to do this. You really do have reasonable rates that you offer to people as you work with them, one on one or with companies. And I thank you for feeling like that you just want to use your gifts to help everybody else get up and be okay with what the generations have for us right now. I already see y'all in your flying cars in a little while. It's here. It's just crazy. It's here. Patrice, I gotta ask you this before I let you go, if you will. How old are you? Just so folks know.
23.
You are 23 years old. How long have you been working in the social media as far as an advisor?
Almost 8 years since I was 15. When I was 15, I went to a journalism program at American University in DC. And I just knew that I wanted to be a journalist. And when I was at that journalism program, I got introduced to the world of social media and the world of broadcasting. And after I left that program, I didn't want to just keep the information that I learned. I wanted to apply it. So I started a blog, and the blog was called Patrice's Perspective. It originally started with me interviewing small businesses in Atlanta, Georgia, where I was raised. And it became less about that and more about using the knowledge that I gained from vlogging and blogging and learning about social media and realizing that I could help other people with it. So I just continued to increase my knowledge on graphic design, social media strategy, business development, and even video editing. And I wanted to share that with other people. It started with younger people, people my age who wanted to start businesses, but it increased to me working with a fitness company, a travel company, and just different businesses, and it's led me to where I am now.
Wow. Wow. So truly an expert, seasoned expert, doing this from the ground up for a long time. How do you stay relevant with the knowledge shifts? Are there places where people should go to try to get certifications, or they should listen to certain speakers or tap into certain books? What do you recommend?
Yeah. What I always do is I stay current on the social media news because with social media, everything is constantly changing. So, one of my favorite platforms is Social Media Today. They provide a lot of information about just how platforms are changing, how the algorithm is changing, and different trends. So, I go to them a lot. Industry professionals. I also watch a podcaster. Her name is Letitia James, and she does a lot of tutorials for social media and business and also provides news sources as well. I will also say that you going through social media just on your personal time and you happen to scroll upon different entrepreneurs and business platforms as well, that is a way to gain information. It doesn't have to be super formal, whether it's going to college or certifications. Those things are good, but the what I've experienced is that knowledge comes just in your daily life. As you see things on social media, you may get an idea, or you may comment on a entrepreneur's page and gather some information from them. But yeah, that's one way. But if you did want to go a more formal route, if you have access to LinkedIn, if you have a LinkedIn account, there's something called LinkedIn Learning. And it's a platform that gives you certifications and just classes about different topics. They have courses on business development, they have courses on marketing, graphic design, as well as more information about generative AI if you really wanted to dive deep into the different platforms that we mentioned today and the different topics. That's a really great platform to use. I believe it does have a cost associated with it, but it is worth it to gain the information that you need over a wide range of topics. So yeah, I highly recommend LinkedIn Learning. It has a lot of information about business development and social media.
LinkedIn Learning and social media today.
Yes.
I love that. Social. I'm I can't write fast as you talking, lady. This has been powerful. Every time you come, you just blow our minds with new information, remind us of how we need to continue to stay relevant. And that is really the big thing about social media presence.
Yes.
It's that for those of us that are still stuck in the phone call age, we are missing a whole boat of not just people to impact, but money that's out there that we could be making as well. Patrice, thank you so much for visiting the Power Up today. So honored that you joined us. Go be great, sister, and keep changing the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Family, Patrice is going to come back. I promise you that. But stay tuned. We'll be right back. There's more after this. Back, family. We're so glad that you're joining us and so glad that you were able to hear today's show. Wow. What amazing information we were able to share. First, we started with Inside the News, reminding you of the power you have to make a difference, not just in your community with those right there in hand's reach, but even across the water, connecting with the American Red Cross. The American Red Cross does so much to be urgent, immediate relief when people need it, regardless of skin color, ethnicity, sex type, anything. You are human with a heart beating, they show up to be able to help. And you can be one of those difference makers. Consider going to redcross.org. Remember, the American Red Cross does so many things from disaster relief that you could be part of to having classes and trainings. Yes, yes. Remember, you should be trying to get that CPR first aid certification. Figure out how you can save a life. Donate blood today. Call, make that appointment so you can get pre-screened and then donate your blood platelets. 7 lives for each donation. Y'all get that? Talk about multiplication. 7 lives are saved just from one donation, whether it's children on the cancer ward at a hospital, or a senior somewhere in a hospital, or someone who just had a horrible travesty happen in a car accident. Family, it could be you when you want somebody to donate to help save your life. Or wouldn't you want that person standing next to you to know how to do CPR until the emergency response gets there? To keep your heart pumping so that you can live and get back up and flourish again. We in the United States watched Damar Hamlin go down during a football game. Immediately they started CPR. He then in the ambulance going to the hospital had to have CPR done again. He is now back on the football field playing in the NFL. That is the American Football League, right? The AFL, the NFL's national, but y'all know what I'm saying. Right? So he is a face of victory. He is a face of someone who had the skill, immediately helping him as soon as he went down, immediately again when he needed it on the way to the hospital. And then now he stands to say, I'm a witness. Don't wait until someone around you needs you to just know what to do. You can donate blood. You can volunteer. You can be that person in the midnight hour that shows up if someone's house is on fire, right? They just lost everything. And you could be the arms and hands of hope. Also, they offer other trainings, how to use AED machines, those defibrillators when someone's heart is not working, first aid, how to help put a tourniquet on if you notice someone's bleeding out so you can save their life so they don't bleed to death. There are things they will teach you how to help do CPR on a baby. It happens. Even water safety. What do you do if someone drowns? What do you do if someone's not responding and you pull them out the pool or you pull them up on the beach? Do you know? Family, they also are wonderful with responding and supporting to our military. They help directly our military personnel and their families with emergency communication, financial aid, even reintegration services coming out of the military back into civilian life. The American Red Cross is doing some things, y'all. You can make a difference. And if none of that works for you, you can always get that tax write off. That win win. They get to buy the supplies that they need to help someone who's in crisis, while you get to write it off as a tax deduction. 1-800 Red Cross. Great place to start to figure out what you can do. Great place to be a superhero for somebody you may never meet. Go to redcross.org to learn more. And then, did y'all check out that interview? You might want to see this rewind if you're just joining. The absolutely phenomenal Patrice Upchurch brings her genius to our platform on a regular basis. Very transparent about her tools, about things that she knows, letting us pull from her. I just wrote down two I'm going to start doing myself. But how important is it that we get an opportunity to learn from an expert? Whether you wanted to know about podcasts, I have these lotions, and I think I want to talk not just about building my lotions and being able to sell them, but I want to talk about the impact of skincare. I have a family member who maybe experienced skin cancer. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about what made me start with the lotions businesses. I had a senior who experienced alopecia and lost all her hair, and it made me want to learn more about skin. So I stepped into everybody has a story. You can start a podcast and share that, and then spark somebody else's. Get as Patrice said, she gets messages from folks saying, "Thank you. I needed to hear that today. I'm going through, but I needed to hear it from a different perspective." Make sure you follow Processing with the Up Churches. It's also on social media. They have, I believe, a YouTube channel. They're on Instagram. They listen, look up Google Processing with the Up Churches. It's an amazing podcast where they examine culture and society through the lens of faith. 23 years old, and her work she gives back to her God, who she wants to give everything to. And as we emphasized, that has nothing to do with her 9 to 5, what she does to eat. She's a financial advisor, y'all. Deals with money. So we got to have her back for that too one day. But in the meantime, get what you can here on the Power Up. Thank you to our production team for continuing to bring the best of the best. Patrice is available. Google her, Patrice Upchurch. Look for her on all social media platforms. And yes, she is open to consultations as we support that young sister to build her company and support her in her endeavors as she pours into so many others. Wow. I'm going to have to again watch this rewind myself. But as always, this is all meant to help equip you. Hopefully, you learned something new today. Maybe you were educated about a new thing that's in the world. You didn't know the Red Cross did that. You didn't know social media could help that way. Maybe you've been elevated. Now you see, you know what? There are classes on LinkedIn, certificates. Why not get them? Why not do what I can to stay relevant? Why not let go of the fear that artificial intelligence is just robots that's going to kill everybody on the planet? Come on, y'all. Let's let go of all the stuff and do what we need to do to stay relevant, to stay present, so that we can pour into this generation. These new youngins coming in, they need everything in you. All the positivity, all the energy, all the knowledge, all the history. They need it all, but they need it on their level. So they're texting. No, grandma, they're not going to pick up the phone and call you. Kids aren't doing that nowadays. They are texting. Are you? Are you able to connect with this young generation? Because they still need you. Just because you're seasoned doesn't mean you're bad. Matter of fact, the most seasoned, the better. What we need is to find ways to pour in Instead of, boy, pull your pants up. Girl, that dress too tight. Because if someone came to you that way, you'd be offended first and not want to hear anything they had to say. So how about we love first and then make sure they can hear and receive the message? Because otherwise it's all about you instead of it being about building so that the shoulders we stand on, they can stand on. And then so can your greats and great greats, your lineage, your legacy, right? So, as we take everything that we've heard today, it's all about impact. The fact that you can do it. Yes, you can. You can make a difference right where you are. You're not in this position by accident. Oh no. Everything is intentionally set up for you to win. You've just got to put one foot in front of the other. Start connecting, yes, ma'am, Reverend Pat, with a mentor or a coach. Get an advisor. I always tell folks that if your money ain't right, pardon my ain't, walk into a bank that has your dollar and have a conversation with a financial advisor. It might hurt a little because they're going to give you the real. They're going to tell you, you know, your assets far exceed your liabilities, and but they're getting really close. How about your input is less than your output? But they're starting to get close. And as you age, inflation is going to make that start to go in a deficit. So, what can you do to cut back, to live in that budget, to figure out what you can do to be better? Family, we hope this information was helpful for you today and that you feel empowered. You know, Tammy, I've been sitting here since the pandemic, chilling in my walls, feeling comfortable. It's time I get up and do something. It's time I push that button and make a difference. From now on, every year around Christmas, I'm going to give to the Red Cross. From now on, I'm going to start looking for a certification so that I can at least grow my brain. Come on, be the anti for dementia and Alzheimer's. Come on, grow that muscle and continue to make sure you at least know how to relate to those grandbabies and the kids around you so that they want to hear from you and you can be that difference maker. I tell you what, this show was good for me. As always, we want to thank our fabulous production team, those behind the scenes who are rock stars, making this show be as excellent as possible. We want to thank all of you who are our listeners who send questions regularly that we can share with our experts to get you answers. Because if you have a question, that means someone else around you does. So the more knowledge, the more information, the more powerful we are. Also, we thank our military and first responders. We thank those who put themselves in harm's way every day, the police officers and the firefighters who run into harm while we're running away. There are good cops out there. There are good everything. We just have to make sure we continue to focus and elevate the good above what folks might see as negative. Family, whether you are doing what working with babies or working with seniors, whether you're working on the front line or behind the scenes, whatever you are doing, we just want you to be great because we know the greatness is in you. And we're looking forward to celebrating your journey as you live your best life. Family, we look forward to seeing you on the next show. What a great one. Have an amazing, amazing, amazing day. Until next time.